So let's see, we got another article here I can pull up. It's again another kind of serious one, but let's see. So we're talking about how everyone is losing all of their jobs and whatnot as a result of the coronavirus. And so I thought it'd be, I don't know, I don't want to say fun is the right word, but interesting to look at another perspective on it. So this is an article from Barron's talking about how a hedge fund investor named Bill Ackman basically turned 27 million into 2.6 billion by was debatable how he did it, but it seems to me from reading the articles and from what else I've been able to find is that he essentially took a short position in the market and then went on CNBC and basically spread fear about how the market was going to react to this virus. And he was right, and it was an easy call to make, but I kind of wanted to get your guys' take on maybe the ethical side of this whole thing, and also on maybe the legislative or the regulatory side of what seems to be like reverse pump and dumping here. So yeah, what do you guys think?
Well, I can say like this guy and the senators that after a very private briefing went out and then sold the majority of their stock holdings should be held accountable for some kind of, and this is just me personally, some kind of insider trading. I mean, I think that when you have, I mean, it brings into the question what is insider trading when, or what is, like market manipulation when you have a platform like CNBC, or you're privy to information that's behind closed door meetings on kind of governmental response to a crisis, how then you then make personal economic and financial decisions that benefit you based on information that the majority does not have. I would think that or a panic that you help induce would hold, would hold some kind of penalty, because it doesn't seem fair and it doesn't seem like everybody had equal access to that information in a timely manner to be able to make those same decisions. And if that's not insider trading or producing a run on the market, I don't know what is. And that's just my personal opinion.
I agree completely. Yeah. I mean, it sounds spot on because, yeah, I can't see any other way to really view this.
Do we really know, does the article say, is there any way to actually measure this guy's contribution to the market declines?
I don't believe there's any real good way for them to correlate that because so many things are happening that it would be difficult to link back. I mean, it seems obvious as we say it in retrospect that things that he said on national TV would induce panic, but to then take and link back that amount of panic to his, speech he gave, I think would be difficult.
Is it a timing issue? I didn't follow the detail of that. Was it a timing issue in the sense that he gives this speech, there's a sudden sharp decline, his transactions are timed, it all happens kind of within a short period of time? Is that what happened?
My understanding of what had happened is that he had set up these trades that were essentially short positions on the market. So he's basically selling stock he didn't have with the intention that he would buy it back later. And it was part of a bigger hedge. So there is a little bit more to this than we've kind of said, but that was the essence of what happened. And then after having set that financial instrument up, then went on TV and, spread fear basically. And so the timing of those events, and like AJ said, the access to information that a lot of others wouldn't have had, I think is where it starts to at least become debatable or, worth discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely do believe that people with a platform shouldn't be trading, shouldn't be both using the platform to basically influence in a way that obviously has the potential to influence the market and trading. I guess what I'm wondering about it though is, in this case, was it kind of dumb of him to even do that from the standpoint of the markets were going to go down related to the COVID-19 crisis no matter what? And so, he could have executed his short. I mean, would we have a different story here if this was just a guy who in some back room issued a bunch of short trades based on believing that due to the COVID-19 crisis, the market was going to crash, and didn't actually go on TV and say anything about it, you still could have made a lot of money this way, right? And had you made a lot of money this way, would we be having the same discussion about him?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think that's a really good question, because I do want to highlight like the difference between what's just a wise financial move and what is potentially an ethical one. So, I mean, if you're just taking a stance and you don't have any influence over what happens in the market, and you believe something's going to happen, and then you set up a transaction that reflects that, I don't think there's anything wrong in that. That's part of why we have those type of financial instruments. I think that, yeah, it's the ability to influence it. It's the access to information that wasn't public. I think those are the things that start to make it more questionable than just a wise trade, or even not even just a wise trade, but also I think inherently betting against the market isn't necessarily bad. In other words, I don't think all short positions are bad. I think that, yeah, it's a difference in how you get there, what you had access to, and then what role you played in it. Not you, but Bill Ackman.
What strikes me about short positions is that when you think about the PR of anything, is it's always easier to influence people negatively, like to say bad things about something or somebody, and have that go viral or have people believe in it, than it is to say good things about something or somebody and get people to believe in it, right? I mean, my cynical take on human nature is that collectively as society, we jump on to bad news and to bad things quicker and in higher volume than we do to good things. And so, yeah, I think if you're inclined to be taking short positions and then making negative comments about the market, you're much more likely to get wrapped up in this kind of problem, it seems like.
Well, and I think the biggest sham is when senators have positions in stock and then they are privy to what's about to be law or privy to information that is not available to the general public. And that's probably the story that I'm most upset about, and isn't covered in this story, but about there is no insider trading laws based in Congress. So if Boeing is about to get a huge aerospace contract with the U.S. Air Force, anybody in the committee that knows that is completely within the law to be able to buy stock in Boeing before that's made public. For whatever reason, there is a moratorium or some kind of, deal that's struck that senators are allowed to do that. The same thing happened just recently with some senators that were briefed on COVID-19 and then went and sold the majority of their stocks before the market really got bad. And the market then dropped again another, 10,000 points or whatever the next day. And they were able to actually save their savings, but the general public wasn't allowed to that. I think that's even more egregious than what this guy did, where he's trying to pump his own short. But both are despicable, I think. And I think to Ty's point, you're right, trying to pump up something. And there's stringent laws about that. I think 50 Cent got in trouble 10 years ago when he was trying to pump penny stocks to his Twitter followers, and
Right.
He didn't disclose that he was invested in it. So I think the same thing goes true on a short. You should have to make aware that you're invested in a short if you're going on and saying this is going to be horrible, sell your stock now, get into cash and gold, or whatever he was saying to promote fear. And then that you have some kind of financial stake in the fact that will affect your portfolio. The same way you have to make a stake that if you're invested in a company and you're saying something about it in public.
Yeah, for sure. I 100% agree with your point that, yeah, government officials, elected officials or appointed officials or otherwise, that they have, that is definitely like inside information, that they know something the general public doesn't know, and then they trade on that seems totally unfair and antithetical to the way market participants should be allowed to behave. Yeah, that's definitely an unfortunate scandal in this situation.